All right, everyone, welcome back to the Raising Kids Pushing Weights podcast, where we talk all about parenthood, health, fitness, nutrition, and all the struggles that come along with being a mother, being a father, and trying to stay healthy. I am Jeff Newman. I am a father of two girls. One of them is under two, or both of them are under two. One of them is turning two in just a couple months. The other one is just 5 or 6 weeks old now. And so we're in the thick of it. So I today have a few topics that I'm going to go over. We are going to talk about a common problem that I see in my life as being a parent, and also in other of my clients' lives who become parents and have the same problem. We're also going to talk a little bit about fitness, something that I heard on a different podcast that really struck home with me, and being a dad and being a person who wants to be healthy. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the personal life. So let's dive into it. Today's episode, we're going to talk about not having a lot of time to cook, because this is a big problem when it comes to parents, especially parents with young kids, whether you're working, running around, taking your kids to school, picking them up from school, taking them to practices, or if you just have two little kids like me where it just feels like there's always something to do on top of work. It can feel overwhelming to find time to cook, which leads to people going for more convenient options, which leads to maybe not the best choices, which leads to giving into cravings, which leads to overeating, which leads to a lot of other problems. So I want to dive into that because recently it's December. We've had a lot of events going on, and we've been actually traveling a lot because we are so scattered with where our families are. We're here. My dad is 2 hours south. My mom is 4 hours north. My sister is about an hour and a half east. Her family is about 3 hours north, also 2 hours east of us. So we're all scattered all over. So which means we do a lot of traveling around the holidays to see everyone, especially with a newborn, because everyone wants to see it. And a big problem with that is that our weekends are kind of that time to kind of prep for the week. It's when we go most of our grocery shopping. It's when we prep foods. And if that's taken away from us, then we struggle to get healthy meals in, especially early on in the week, which is tough because if you start Monday with bad food, it's easier to keep going on that. So you got to break that cycle somehow. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience with this and also some of my clients' experience, and see if we can come up with some solutions that'll work for you if you struggle with this as well. So yeah, I definitely feel like we've been eating out more with how much we've been traveling. And really, it kind of takes something to kind of kickstart yourself back into the routine that you need to be in. And what helps me get back on track is taking a day to actually track what I eat. And I'm not so much looking at overall calories. I mean, I am concentrating on that. But basically, the habit of just writing down what I eat, whether that's in my MyFitnessPal app or just on a piece of paper or just in my notes, makes me realize what I'm actually eating, because I know myself, and some of the habits that I fall back into are the snacking, especially when I'm tired, that late afternoon snacking of whatever I can basically find, whether that's something healthy, if I turn to berries and fruit, or if I turn to something like chocolate. So that's something that helps me be aware of, because I have to write it down, and I force myself to write it down on that day, that check-in day, that kickstart day to get me back into it. So then I can realize, oh yeah, I am having a few extra 100 calories just of snacking. Same thing when it comes to the weekends too. If you're kind of falling off of the weekends, write down everything you eat. Write down all the alcohol you drink or whatever it is. Because trust me, I mean, I know it's the holiday season right now when we've had a bunch of events, and my alcohol consumption is definitely up right now. So if I write that down, I can easily see oh, okay, this is why maybe I'm not losing weight, or this is why I've maybe gained a couple pounds, because I'm taking in these extra calories. And just by the simple act of taking one day out of the week and writing down everything you eat, you're going to become more aware. Now, you can take it a step further and actually track your calories, hit a calorie goal, because then you'll have an idea for one day out of the week, oh, this is what I have to do to hit 2,200 calories, or whatever your calorie amount is going to be. Then you can take that and repeat that the rest of the week. And I like to do that early on in the week, on Monday and Tuesday, because then you can keep going the rest of the week and kind of repeat that same process. So easier said than done, right? But it's a great way to kickstart your healthy eating back into the routine. So what will you have to do to actually do that? Well, you have to make simple meals, because I'm not going to spend a bunch of time. I'm super busy. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on some fancy meals. You got to keep it simple. And that's kind of my way of working with nutrition as well, especially with my clients, especially with other parents, is keep it simple and use tools that are going to help save you time. For us, the Instant Pot is a huge tool that we use, especially to cook our protein, especially to cook our meat, because it's really simple. In 20 minutes, I know I can have chicken done, and I can cook a lot of it in there. So then I can have that chicken for multiple meals. I can feed other humans in my family that chicken as well. And it's just easier than trying to watch the chicken in the pan, flip it over, make sure it's fully done, because all I have to do is press a button and it's done. So utilize different tools that are going to help you save time, and utilize simple meals. I'm talking protein, pick a protein, a meat, pick a carb, that could be sweet potato, rice, quinoa, something like that. Pick a veggie. There's a bunch of them out there. Take your pick. Pick some spices to throw on top. You can kind of pick a theme. What I like to do is more pick a theme where it's like, oh, maybe we want more of a taco seasoning on it, or maybe we want more of like a Greek chicken where we're going to throw on some dill or something like that. And then have a sauce to make it a little bit more exciting if you're a sauce person. I'm a sauce person. My fridge is like filled with a bunch of sauces that I'll use. And you can do that, and then you can take that and you can switch up flavors super easy from meal to meal, from day to day. So one day, if you're doing more of a taco salad, the next day, if it's like plain chicken, you can do rice and chicken and veggies and do more of like a stir fry-ish and throw on a little bit of soy sauce at the end as well to give it that little bit of extra flavor. And then you can throw on maybe some sriracha for some spice or whatever it is. I'm just saying that you can take that base of simple, healthy meals and transform it into whatever flavors that you want to do. And that is going to help you stay consistent. All right. So those are my tools to kind of help you if you're struggling to find time to cook, if you feel like you're just eating out more, you're not in your same rhythm. Number one, take that day to track what you eat. Write it down, use a MyFitnessPal tracker, whatever it is, and write it down. You'll be more aware. And then 1A, take it a step further by actually getting a calorie amount and learning and seeing how you can hit that calorie amount in a day, and then you can repeat that the rest of the week. And then number two, keep it simple and use your tools, all right? So keep it simple meals, and then use those Instant Pots, use those air fryers, use those crock pots, whatever it is, keep it simple. It's gonna help you stay consistent, all right? That's my tips if you are pretty crunched for time. So I wanna switch topics here a little bit and talk about something that I heard recently on a podcast that really stuck with me. It stuck with me for fitness, it stuck with me for nutrition, it stuck with me for business, and it stuck with me for just being a better parent and a better person in general. And it's this idea of any sort of success you see out there comes from a voluntary discipline. And what I mean by that is that this is all voluntary, right? I don't have to work on my own business. You don't have to go to your job. You don't have to eat healthy. And when we don't have that discipline, the world is kind of like open to us, and we tend to go towards things we shouldn't do. Let's take, nutrition, for example. If you don't have that discipline in nutrition and you just open up and be like, well, I can have whatever I want, chances are you got some bad habits in there and you're going to start turning towards these bad foods. But if you have that voluntary discipline, that discipline to say no to certain foods, doesn't mean you can never have them again. We all get that. But if you can have that discipline around nutrition, that's where you're going to have the most success. And if you look at people's nutritions, they might not be where they want to be because they don't have that voluntary discipline. They're trying to make too much work. I'm still trying to have pizza. I'm giving in and having, a big burrito or whatever it is. But if you can have that voluntary discipline, that's where you're going to have success. Same thing when it comes to fitness, having that voluntary discipline. Same thing when it comes to just being a better person. Having that voluntary discipline will help you be a better father, a better mother, a better parent, a better person overall. And obviously, same thing when it comes to business. The more work you put into your business, chances are you're going to have more success, whether that's financial success or just a successful business or just more impact, whatever you are looking for. All right, so that's just something I wanted to bring up. I heard on another podcast, and I really loved the idea of voluntary discipline because I think a lot of people fall into this like, I have to do this, or like, it's just a negative type of thinking around like, I have to stick to this diet to see success. And it's just a different mindset. But if you think about it as like a voluntary discipline, I'm doing this because I know I want to and I need to, it just makes it a little bit easier to think about than just, trying to, be too serious about things. So something to think about. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and see if it connects with you as much as it connected with me. All right, next topic today. We're going to talk a little bit of fitness. And it is December. It is a cold season. It is the holiday season. It is a time where people travel a lot. And it's a time where people are like, well, you know what? I can push my fitness off until January because you know what? I'm not going to sign up for anything right now. I'm not going to start anything new because I'm going to be gone this weekend and then I'm going to be gone on Christmas, which is in 3 weeks. You know, it just doesn't make sense. But I'm here to tell you that some is always better than none. We have this idea in our minds, especially when we're just starting out with fitness, where we tend to be like, well, if I can't go 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, then I shouldn't do anything because I'm traveling in a couple weeks and I'm not going to sign up for something if I'm traveling in a couple weeks. But like, do you see what I'm getting at right now? You can still make it a lot, make a lot of other days and you can still make a lot of progress with what you have available. Just because you're going out of town 12 out of the next 28 days doesn't mean you should do 0. It means you should maybe do the other 16 days. You can still do something. How about that? And I guess what? 16 days out of 28 days, if you did something, you were going to see progress and you were going to feel better. All right? You need to change your mindset from, all or nothing. And you also need to change your mindset that maybe this month you're not going to lose weight, but just by starting the habit of working out, showing up and building that habit, it's going to be a whole lot easier in January and you're going to feel so much better about yourself in December. All right. So I'm here to tell you that some is always going to be better than none. A 10-minute workout is always going to be better than 0. A bodyweight workout is always going to be better than sitting on the couch and skipping your workout. 1 day a week is still more than 0. All right. So around the holiday season, build the habit of showing up and start working out for different reasons. Don't do it for weight loss. Do it because you feel better after, because you have more energy. And so you're going to feel like better overall. You know, I hate that feeling when like you don't work out for a while. You just kind of feel sluggish overall. And it's tough to get back into it, I will admit. But once you do, you realize like, oh, this is why I do it. I feel so much better. So some is always better than none. All right. And that's kind of it for today. I'm going to dive a little bit into the personal life, what's going on with us, the kids, and everything. Peyton's just growing like crazy. She's repeating everything you say, which is so cool because she tries to say things like full sentences and putting bigger words together. But it also sucks when you let a oh shit out and she repeats it in front of everyone. So I'm working on tailoring my mouth around the kids right now. So it's definitely fun. But, she says things like, oh, today she grabbed her pig and put it in her crib and she just goes, piggy, nap time? I was like, oh, man, you're like putting all this together now and using her stuffed animals to do things. It's so cute. She's saying things like, let's go see Santa. Or, well, she doesn't say let's go. She says, go see Santa, which I think we're going to do. I think we're going to try it out. We're going to see what happens. We saw Santa last year when she was not even a year old, and she definitely cried. So we're going to see what happens this time around, if it makes sense and we can get to Santa to take pictures, which is definitely a weird thing, right? Like taking our kids to sit on a person's lap, like somewhere, just to have a photo with Santa. I don't know. Just the whole thing kind of seems weird to me, but it's a fun tradition. I get it. I remember doing that. I remember going to the mall where like the mall was the only place that had a Santa. Now I feel like they have Santa popping up everywhere, like every event. Like, oh, Santa's going to be here. And probably the kids are going to catch on to that, right? But anyways, I remember having to go to the mall, stand in a long line just to get your photo taken. That sucked. I'm happy that's not the thing anymore. I also wanted to dive in a little bit, like, with parent struggles. Peyton's definitely coming into those too. She turns 2 in like a month and a half. She's definitely testing limits at times, especially when she gets tired, man. And like, climbing on things and doing things that she knows that she shouldn't do. She will look at you and still do it, looking for that reaction. And I really got to watch how I react because I sometimes will snap fast, and I got to watch that because number one, that's not the way to parent. It's just not the way to discipline. You got to actually explain to them like why they're doing something wrong as much as they can understand. But I also don't want her to repeat that because I know she's going to see me do that and then she's going to do that. So I really have to work on that. And, if you can relate to that, let me know because it's tough. It's tough sometimes. Like when you got a lot going on and something happens and you're trying to concentrate and it keeps happening and she does something and it's just like, oh, you just turn and you snap and it's, whether you raise your voice or whatever it is, I definitely just got to work on that. Just so I don't like snap like that. It's just not a good way of parenting, of course. So something that I'm working on with raising my voice, like in the heat of the moment. So let me know if you can relate to that. Anyways, like I said, we're about 5 or 6 weeks into being a family of 4. It's definitely tougher to go anywhere. It's definitely tougher to fit everything in our car. I am currently also car shopping for more room because I have zero idea. Like I said, my mom lives 4 hours away in the snow and we go there after Christmas. And I have no idea how we're going to get up there. With 2 dogs, 2 kids, both kids are still in a car seat. We need to bring the pack and play for Peyton to sleep in. We need to bring the portable crib for Camden to sleep in. And all our bags. And all our clothes. And the dogs have to fit in somewhere. So it should be a fun trip to get up there and see if we can actually pack that car and get up there. Or maybe I'll just have a new car in time. We'll see. I don't know. Overall, it's been great so far being a family of 4. It's so fun that I get to hop on here and talk about it. I've heard from a few of you who are also parents, who can relate with some of the struggles that I'm going through as well. And I hope you enjoy it. I really do. So if you did like this episode, then please share it with someone who you think would enjoy it, who can relate. If you have any ideas for me, please feel free to send me a message. I'd be happy to hear what you want me to talk about, or whether it's some topics about fitness or nutrition or just parenthood in general. Please leave a review, leave a comment, do something to let me know that you enjoyed this podcast, and I would greatly appreciate that. So thanks again, and I will see you for the next episode.